Hello everyone, my name is Brenda Mashabo. Welcome back to my channel. It is so good to have you click on my content. I really appreciate it. And in case you're just looking for story time, looking for a little bit of gossip here and there, and then my title and my thumbnail caught your interest and you decided to click on, but you're not part of my subscribers, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. It is absolutely free. You're not going to pay anything for subscribing. You're basically following me on YouTube. So today I'm having a little young something here. I'm a little bit on the edge, mainly because this is not the type of content I usually put out there. Like, I don't think my life is that exciting, and I don't have a lot of interesting stories, and I think the main objective of this video is not to entertain or anything like that. I just thought, let me let you in a little bit on this part of my life, and also because the person in question still stalks me. Like, I blocked his number from both my phones, but I kept saying, when you block a number, you can see when they try to call you. Like, it does not ring at all. But, should you go to your call log, you're trying to call somebody that you recently called or whatever, and then you can see that their number tried to call you. It has a circle that is cancelled, like basically a cancelled circle. That's how you can tell that that number is blocked on your phone, so it does not ring. So basically, I think that's just me trying to let you in a little bit, not to entertain, because I don't think the story is interesting. I, however, want to highlight a few things that perhaps the gents might take out of this and make sure that they learn from it. This is a long intro to the story, so I'm going to give you a little bit of context, right? And actually tell you how we got to a point where he told me that this is crazy. He basically told me that how am I going to put this, because like he didn't, but he let his then girlfriend take my entire album, like a lot of my pictures, and go and Lord knows do what. But the intention behind her taking my pictures was quite clear. She said, I'm gonna show you on yeah, so she said she's gonna take it to some muti man, for that muti man to perform something that would make us break up. Okay, so I'm gonna give you context before you get all kinds of like, I'm going to give you context and you're going to decide for yourself. And, just to begin with, I don't think I was supposed to be in that position where I was with somebody who was with another person, which I was not aware of, by the way. So, a lot of things came to light, like in recent years. Not recent years, I think last year or that other year, or 2021. So obviously I'm going to give this person a name. I'm a soccer person, so I'm going to look around the soccer players, and at the same time, I don't want to give him like an exciting name. I don't want to give him like a Mbappe or somebody current or whatever, because I don't even know if he watches my content, but just in case, or people who know him come to my space and watch my channel and the content I put up here, I don't know. But let's call him Balo, as in like Mario Balotelli. It's not somebody I like, and also is kind of like ancient. Not really ancient, but mainly because another reason why I'm going to call him Balo. I recently went through, like, I was going through like my Facebook, watching videos that were available. Again, algorithm recommends the type of videos, the type of content that you like to first on. And then again, I was seeing Jose Mourinho's post-match interviews, or like interviews in general. And then there's this video. If you follow me on Facebook, you might have seen it. There's this video of him just narrating the entire story of Mario Balotelli, who was like his only striker. I didn't have anybody on the bench. He was playing on a yellow card, and then the entire halftime he spent like 14 minutes of his time. Look at me diverting, but this is football. You want to get something. So, and then Jose saying, like, I took 14 minutes of my time because, like, first half Mario got the yellow card. So now Jose as a coach was just saying, Mario, I don't have a striker on the bench. I can't change you. I need you on the pitch. You're the only striker. So Jose is actually saying I took 14 minutes of that 15 minutes halftime break to actually speak to Mario, to try and just let Mario understand how much he needed to stay away from another force. Because you know if he gets another yellow, he's out of the game, because that equates to a red card, essentially. So, and then Joseph explains that, okay, fine, the second half started, and then 49 minutes or 4 minutes later into the second half, Mario got another card, another yellow card, and that was the end. So he's sort of like somebody who's, you know, umuntu engimkhumbulayo just cause bengibuka le video. So I'm going to call him Balotelli or Balo, Mario. If it's Mario, if it's Balo, then you know. So I met Balo. It wasn't really meeting per se, cause I want to tell a story, but at the same time I want to keep details, some important details hidden. But I don't think I'm going to succeed though. So I met Balo through my family, like my extended family. So my family and his family are sort of like related, but not by blood or anything. It's not in the bloodline or anything. It's just that my aunt got married to his brother. Fuck, you know who I'm talking about. My aunt married his brother, literally. So, and then like a popular story of other people as well, bridesmaids, groomsmen, and then we sort of like, as I was saying, it wasn't really meeting, but I guess it was us just getting to really be close, you know, by means of proximity, number one, because he was my partner, bridesmaid, I was a bridesmaid, and then a groomsman, so he just happened to be my partner, and not because of any other special reasons, but obviously, as I'm saying, like, we sort of like are related, and my aunt dated his brother long before they got married. So the events itself of just getting married wasn't like the beginning or like the early years of the relationship. It was a matter of just making it official, because they had long related before. You know, I started of paying lobola and then go years, and then only years later you get to be married. So it was a matter of, I knew him, and I think he also knew him. He also knew me, rather. And like, I knew him. That was just it. There was nothing that made us converse or be in a similar sport. Okay, another important detail. So that extended family of mine and my aunts and whoever lives in a certain area, and I live in a certain area. For example's sake, let's say I live in Emadadeni. If you're quite familiar with Newcastle and the location, Emadadeni is Sizweni. So Emadadeni is where I currently live, not like currently as in like when I'm shooting this, but that's home for me, Emadadeni. And then Osizweni is like our main family where like my father came from, like my grandmother, grandfather, you know, grandparents' house, like our main Ekaya Kulu. I don't know how to say it in English, but that's like our HQ in a way. So Osizweni and Emadadeni is not quite far from each other. I think it's the exact distance, because 35 minutes at most, or 40, just to be safe, from driving from home to Osizweni, Ekaya Kulu, where my grandparents lived. Ubaba wazalela khona. So, and then coming back to, and we lived Osizweni like before, and then my mother decided to go and build a house Emadadeni, closer to my mom's family side. So yeah, it wasn't something that we meeting, basically. We were not meeting, if you know what I'm trying to say. We were related, not by blood, as I'm saying. And yeah, my aunt's marrying to his family. Then the wedding happens, we close, we are having our own wedding within that wedding, the way it was, because we were just so close to each other. We were having a conversation, but we're not distracting the main event. So we were too close, man. And I think and I think the people who sort of like have those eyes were like, okay, I see these two. We are seeing this too. And the way the son is smiling next to this boy. So long story short, and then we started dating. But our dating back then wasn't really, because as I'm saying, and I think I was starting tertiary by then. So we never got to be in the same space like for longer. Like I can't even remember some of the details of like our relationship, but seemingly it was so important to him. Like he remembers everything to the T. So within that dating, it was like quite one of those dating. I was still like full-time in church, abstaining, never kissed. I think the most we did was like hug. But then, you know, as I'm saying, we were like far apart from each other, but we sort of like had our relations, you know, from back then. And his brother was excited about it. I used to hear from my aunt that that his brother was thrilled, thinking because even when he saw Sizweni, like I'm not in the streets or doing whatever, like I'm at home. Like I'm going to the shops for the corner, I'm back, you know. I just grew up like that. So and then we separated. I can't remember what happened, but between us dating, I remember there was I used to do beauty contests back then. Like my pictures, a lot of my pictures, and when I think about it right now, I get really mad because like I'm thinking, why? Number one, I'm like thinking, why did I give him my pictures? But I guess it was the nature of the relationships back in the day. It was not even a matter of having your pictures like electronically most of the time. So like I had like hard copies, and I think it must have been 10, 11, 12 pictures, like a lot of my pictures. I remember this one time because when I went to Vasisi as well, I think we started like conversing at some point. He came to Durban. He just reminded me that and because I never really thought it was that important, that's why I tell the dates, some of the details are quite blurry, but when he's reminding me and I'm like, oh my god, he's telling the truth. So this one time, yeah, I gave him my pictures in that mix of us being girlfriend and boyfriend. I guess he used to be so smitten. I think he still is. Not that I think, I know he still is. He used to be very smitten, like thinking, oh my god, you're the most beautiful. Not telling lies though, he was he wasn't telling lies. So I guess but in that mix, ne, at that time, as I was saying, we were not within the same place for the longest time, and I don't think it came up. I don't remember asking him or whatever. But Jay, I did not know he had a girlfriend back then. Apparently, he had a girlfriend, and their relationship was sort of like very aggressive in a way from the girl side, obviously, because Yena is not like that. Balo's not that aggressive, no. So, but then I got to hear of the stories like later in the years. I can't really remember what happened, but from the top of my head, or when I'm trying to really, because I don't know the reason, I think I lost interest. And the fact that I was away, I sort of like continued with my life, which was basically starting. If you think about it, as in tertiary, first year in my tertiary, and that happened. So, but in that mix, he gave away my pictures. Not gave like literally gave, but that's the term I'm gonna stick with right now, and it's gonna make sense. I think he let that happen. I don't know how. So fast forward, like think I lost interest, we're no longer talking. Then because I'll still go to Osizweni when unomsebenzi, there's like funerals, weddings, but not all the time. It would be like a once in a year type of thing. I don't know why all of a sudden my nose it would be like a once a year type of thing. You know, it wasn't something that happened quite frequently. Like, you know, I lost interest, we lost contact, I was okay, I was fine. Nothing was happening, and I remember my grandmother as well sort of like supported that idea, but not like, you know, not in so many words, but I knew her. And I knew that if he didn't want me with him, she was going to be vocal about it, but she didn't say anything. But there was never a conversation where she was like, I like him for you or whatever. But I could just suss out energies, because at time we were like close to each other, and at times and we'd have a conversation as soon as somebody opumendly like both our houses, and then we just separate. So we lost contact. That's it. I remember going for these functions that I just mentioned, seeing him, and then he tried to talk to me, and at some point would exchange like a few words, but that's just that he used to look at me. I remember there was this wording happening like from his side, but because we're closer, even within like we were like literally sort of like neighbors back Osizweni. So me and my mother attended those. That's like I think 2 or 3, or can't remember, but it's more like recentish. Attended a wedding there. He wanted my attention. The way he was, I'm like, come on, Balo, the way you're looking, why are you looking at me like this? But it wasn't, you know. So I remember telling him, he wanted my number. I remember telling him to go on Facebook and just go and add me as friend on Facebook. I was just trying to dismiss him, and obviously he did that. Never confirmed his friend request, never responded to his messages. At some points, he's saying, you can ignore somebody, whatever. And then to like recentish, when I'm saying recentish, I don't mean like recent in terms of like months, but I remember me and my man right now, we were in that break thing that I hate so much, and I've been vocal about it, and I told him no break, not unless this is it, because I mean there's no point I'm not going to play that game, you know. In that period where you separate and go back to each other, that separation period, especially when nothing is being discussed, is to say we're taking a break, of which I don't believe in breaks. It's a matter of, on my side though, it's a matter of thinking like we're broken up, like I'm done, I'm good, I don't want him, blah blah blah. Only to find he will try and make his way back into my life, and he'll start by looking for my attention, this and that, and I'd ignore him up until I'm like, come on, B, you like this guy, don't you? But he just ends me, and we get back to each other. And I think I know I'm done with breaks. We either like call it quits for quits, or we just fix our problems. Because this thing of like us breaking up only to get back to each other again, I'm not gonna work. I'm not doing it. I've been clear about that. I told him. I even found myself right now, I'm the type of a person now in a relationship where like I'm the one who's willing to fix it first. But it hasn't been like major issues or anything like that. It's just sometimes over communication. You know, we fight over, or we argue over silly things really. But some of these things gets really intense, and we, you know. But I told him, like, I'm the type of a person now, I'm like, let's fix this. What is our problem? And then we'll discuss and, you know, try and fix it. Because I'm done. I'm not saying like this is it, but what I'm saying is maslugan, we're done. Like me personally, I'm done. Done with capital D. So it was in between that time. It was a jolly occasion, and I went back to Osizweni, Ekaya. My gran is no longer there, my grandfather no longer there, even my father, bro. So it sort of like then becomes like a major event or a major gathering for me to go to Osizweni, because I basically feel like there's nothing for me there. Like there's nothing for me there, like except my brothers, from my uncles and whoever. So it was a jolly occasion. I was feeling good by myself. Like I've been curving this guy for I don't know how long, for years. The last time I think I spoke to him, I can't even remember, like I'm saying. But to him, it was so important. Like, he remembers everything. Okay, fine. I was in a jolly occasion. Like, I was feeling good about myself. It was like, "Kumnandi, man, Jay." The mood was okay, even at home. And then he approached me as well. He approached me. And then only then I gave him my number, because I'm like, let me just, you know, him, getting my number did not really mean we were going to get back to each other or get back together. But it was just me, like, oh, kunini lo mfana engibelesela. Like, every time, like I'm saying, it's not a thing of like we see each other every quarter or anything like that. But I gave him my number, and then we started talking. Then only when we started chatting, now he's coming clean about a lot of things. He's mentioning things. He's bringing up this photos of mine. He's bringing them up. And every time he's like, I think he just started by testing the waters, this and that. And then he told me that, what has been happening in his life in between. Look, he started working a long time ago. And I don't know what happened along the way, or he just took his pension or whatever, or he was retrenched. I don't know. But right now, it's not looking good for him. It's just not looking good. He just doesn't even look that great. You can see, man, the nigga is struggling. But it's not about that right now. So we're having a conversation. He keeps bringing these photos up, like your photos. I feel bad, this and that. But Nakona, just like he's going in circles before he just, goes straight to the point. He calls me Linda. Linda, at the time, I was seeing this girl. He goes on to say, and I don't know how the girl knew about me or she was told. I don't know the story, but apparently that girl got to know about me. And then he started seeing my pictures. Because at some point, Upalo told me that there was my favorite picture. Hey, also Nami. Why did I give you my pictures? There was a picture of mine. I was wearing a white top, a white neat type of top. And my holes. It was a nice white top of mine. So I took a picture, like a head short. I remember, like, within our conversations back then, he mentioned that he framed it. Wi-Fi and whatever. So I don't know. Could have been that. So he's telling me that his girl back then took my pictures. She kept on saying she was going to take my pictures at first, and then along her saying that, I think, I don't know how later, then the nigga realized that my pictures were gone. So he's saying, I tried to protect you. Like, I'm just listening, and I'm like, I can hear my body getting warm, because I'm like, what? I'm not mad at the fact that he had a girlfriend. If I find out about it back then, I probably was going to be sure, like, mad as hell. But right now, like, I don't even remember how I felt about him. Like, I don't feel anything, but I was just like we human beings. Let me give him my number. And we started having a conversation. So in my mind, I'm thinking, so while he's telling me this, he's also mentioning the fact that he's not sure whether my aunt took my pictures because she was trying to protect me from what she was hearing this girl say, because apparently it wasn't even a matter of them. And even like his entire family got to know about this, and the fact that the girl's fighting, as I'm saying, like, she was a bit aggressive, because their fights would sometimes escalate in such a way that even family members would get to know about them. So I'm thinking to myself, how could you let that happen? So the girl's intention was quite clear, and she communicated it with him. She said, I am going to sort you and this girl. I'm going to make sure that you break up and never look at each other again. So in my mind, I'm thinking, perhaps, because I can't even remember what happened, I'm not that bothered at the fact that we got to break up. I'm not bothered about that. But now my issue is, if you're gonna cast a spell against somebody using their pictures, my pictures in this story, you are not trying to mess me up. You're not trying to mess up that relationship only. You're trying to mess me up holistically. Right now, I have a job. If somebody were to cast a spell on me, you're not messing me up. You're not trying to mess my relationship aspects, like my romantic relationship aspects of my life. But you're trying to have me have this bad energy that is even going to affect my work. I was mad, and I'm thinking, I started thinking, I know that like the spells and us as human beings are not that powerful, but at the back of my mind, I had this thing because I know Muti can work. You can also, attest to this. You've been a victim of Umuti here and there. I don't know. That's not the main reason, but I'm just saying, what if, and I started thinking, I got in my head a lot, and I'm like, what if all the delays in my life were because of this? I got really upset, and I think something that made me even more upset was the fact that he wasn't getting what I was saying in its entirety, because he was in the meantime trying to defend himself. I'm like, you let it happen. You let it happen, because she was clear what she wanted to do with my pictures. And I think when you're only concerned telling me this now is because you want to come back into my life and you're thinking we got separated because of the spell, and now you think perhaps we can work things out. I'm like, all my life, all the delays, I don't know. I don't know. There are things that can happen in your childhood before you were even able to protect yourself that still have impact in your life, even in your adult years. You still struggle with things and bondages that you carry that happened in your childhood. I'm thinking to myself, what if? What if? Sometimes I think men in general, you need to understand that the position you are putting us in. You need to understand. Not long ago, I was dealing with rash and the breakouts that I did not understand. Men don't understand. Look, you don't. The minute you put me in a situation where I'm going to be in competition that I'm not aware of over yourself, I can't. You shouldn't even put me in that position. Can we deal with the other witchcraft coming from your witches or whoever, your family members, or my family members at times? Just people wishing ill upon a relationship or whatever. You can't be that careless about this is not about us. It's not about our relationship only. If there's a spell against your life, nothing works for you. You will toil and toil. You will struggle. And up until you get to a point where you get to learn of it and you deal with it accordingly. Because you just can't generally deal with everything and be thinking, of course, Lord, only you know. It does not work like that. There are things that you need to attend the same way they were contracted. As plain as that, as blunt as that. There are things that you can only fix with Moti because you got them through Moti. I'm going to sound controversial. Yes, I believe in prayer and I believe in God holistically, no reservations. But I just know that in other situations, I'll find myself looking for other alternatives, because I'm not going to be struggling with ireshing a pay. Dr. Manje. I'll be praying about it. I can't struggle. A chronic rash when I've never even in my face have had any pimple whatsoever. Guys, you're just putting us through a lot. Please stop playing games. If you love somebody, be with them. Because one thing, I'm not going to know. At least in this context, Ubalo, got to know, but he was still careless enough to let that happen. I'm like, my thing is you should have protected me. I was not aware what was happening, and I was no longer even in your life, or I was in your life, but I was not, I was far from you. You knew what was happening, you didn't say anything. You could have taken my pictures whilst it's a kaya or whatever, but you let that happen. They're no longer together now, it does not matter, I don't really care. I don't even know that girl, but I know that girl knows me like she even knew how I looked like. So this is the type of person who would meet me in town and be sure, oh, like I'm certain this is her. I mean, I don't even know her. Please, niggas, you need to do right. Please, I'm going to expose my situations. I need us expose. Because now I'm going to have a thing, Yoguti. Fine, I can let you go. I don't care. Like, I can let you go. But I'll still need to get myself right at the end of the day. Because my life is not going to end with you. I'll still need to get myself right. Sometimes you might even wonder why your relationships don't last. Like, why are you struggling so much finding a job? Gandhi, it emanates from a boy you were seeing who was careless enough to expose you to some form of darkness and witchcraft that you are paying for. You're not even aware that you're paying for that. You can't even be delivered from something that you don't know of. Until when? Like grace? Yes, grace is sufficient. Until when? But what if I have something in my body and I keep scratching myself? I can't. Niggas, you need to decide what you want to do in your life. So basically that's the story. Cut ties, immediately cut ties. And there were other aspects that just, I was like, I'm done. This is it. I'm just done. And I even blocked him. And I was like, no, that's just, there's just no way. You did not protect me. So, and she was saying she was saying he was not even sure whether my aunt took my pictures just to protect me, because also she was, hearing this conversation. I don't know. I don't even want to follow up. I don't care. I just want to move on from that. I'm just, in a way relieved that it came to light, because it's not nice. It's not nice. Some people, are struggling over words that were spoken before you were even born. You may find that your father spoke some words against your mom when your mom told your father that she's pregnant with you, and you live under those words your entire life until you get to the root of what is wrong, and then you get to know, I need to break loose from these words that were spoken over my life when I was not even aware, but they have the impact. It was bonus strugglation, and you struggle with this and that. You don't know how and why. Like, you qualified, you got at your job, but you don't get a job. Your life is stagnant. You're dealing with things from your past that were either spoken or things that were either done against you and your name, and you find yourself not progressing in life because of a stupid relationship or whatever. Like I'm saying, even words. Guys, you need to do better. Like, if you love somebody, please protect them, not only like against STIs, but protect them from these spiritual things. Because one thing about a man, he's not going to tell you. He's going to go fix himself if he's also going to get, something out of this spell or whatever that is happening that is meant to make you break up. The man's going to go fix himself and come back and keep quiet. And then you'll also go and fix yourself. But some of these things, it's something you can't bring it up. You can't bring it up in a relationship. Like, I don't know, you probably would. But I can't bring it up in a relationship and be like, babe, I got to learn that you have another person who did this to me. You don't. Like, you just don't. It's not a type of a conversation that you can have freely, because it cannot be scientifically proven. Like, you can't prove it. Not unless I see an SMS or I catch him red-handed or whoever. But, and I happen to be somebody who dreams. And my dreams back in the days used to be so clear. It's not even funny. My dreams used to be so clear, especially when it comes to my relationships. I would sleep and have a dream that my guy's cheating on me, and I'll wake up, remember everything, and a few days after that, and I get to learn of it. That's how I used to be. Like, I'm big on energy. Some of the things, like right now, I'm not, dreaming as much as I dreamed back then, but I still, like, I'm big on energy, man. I just know I'm big on energy. I'll just feel and I'll bring it up. I'm like, are you okay? Like, I sure, like, I just can't feel you. Like, spiritually, when I'm just thinking of you, or like, I'm a very energy person. Like, I would know when we're okay, even before I could see signs of him not picking up my calls, this and that. I'll just feel the energy as far away as he may be. So back in the days, I'd just dream of things. Like, I'd know, but then just find a way to bring it up in such a way that I'd know, if even if I were to hear from somebody else, I'd know if that person is telling me the truth or not, because it would be revealed to me first. So you wouldn't approach me with something that was not preempted to me. It was either preempted, like, I dream of something, I'm like, I'll see something happening, like a deja vu type of thing, and I'm like, man, I've seen this. Oh man, I had a dream about this. Like, odd things even. So man, hey, niggas, you need to do better in order to protect us. So he's been stalking me all along. Went back to my man, and okay, fine with my man. I don't want anything to do with him, even if I was still, not back with my, like, I don't know. It's been months, close to a year, but this person still calls me. I can't see his number, and I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm just done. But that just put me off, and other things as well that I'm not really interested to divulge right now. But it's not like other things like he'd call me drunk, because now this is the person who no longer have a job. So this person will have access to alcohol. I don't know where he gets money from. He'll have access to alcohol, and I'm like, I don't want to pay for everything that went wrong in your life with whoever, because apparently he had paid lobola for this girl. Later in the years, when he got his money, pension money, paid lobola, this and that, and it didn't work out, because when we reconnected, he was telling me all of those things, and I'm like, no, it's fine. It's a reality of so many guys out there. Let's just talk for now. Like, I don't want to say we want to get back to each other. It was a long time ago when we were together. I can't even remember what I liked about you back in the days. We're definitely different people right now, and I think we will need to really just see where we are in life, and like our cognitive compatibility. We were not compatible cognitively, whatever, and I was to be turned off, and I'm like, I'm not that much against alcohol, but you can imagine if somebody is going to drink and they don't have a job. They have access to alcohol, but you can't drink every week. Really, you can't. You need to go to rehab and get yourself right, So that also put me off. But in this story, he was negligent with my pictures, like my life. Like, I was done. Then, like, as soon as he told me that, I was done. And I got frustrated when he didn't understand me and my and how I was upset. Almost said obsession. I almost said obsession. I don't know whether it's a word. So, but yeah, that's it. You see, my story is not that interesting, but I just thought, the more he's pestering me with messages and this and that, like, I'm not budging. And I thought to myself, let me come and address this. If he happens to come to this video, it's chill, bro. If people who know about our story, they'll know who I'm talking about. No cap, bro. There's no cap. So that's it. That's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Please do consider subscribing. That's it from me. Bye.